Everything that we have done so far has been input, output, and if statements. Every program that we've written is all input, output, and if statements. One of the things that we have to remember in order to have something print out or display on the screen, we have to use the print command. So here's the print command. And we always start with hello world. And when we run this is the command that is given to the compiler. The compiler then runs it, and this will be the output window. When we run the command, it appears hello world on the output screen. If we want to get input, what we use is the input command. So for example, if we say name equals input, and we say enter your name, and then we print hello name, is going to repeat for us what we've inputted. Now, the input command always needs a variable, and I think this is where everyone seems to be forgetting that this is the variable. Now, variables can have any name you want. There are certain ways that you can write variables, especially when you have two words that make up the variable. For example, first name and last name. There's something called Camelback, where we write the name first. When we take the first name and we write it in lowercase, and the second name, the first letter, we capitalize it. So this is called Camelback, and Camelback is just basically like that. It looks like a camel's back, and that's why it's called Camelback. Another way that we can create a variable is by putting an underscore between the two names. Either way, variables can only be one continuous set of string characters that will be used to store information. Another thing I want you to notice is that when I create a variable name, when I go to print it out, I print out the name of the variable without quotation marks. I'm trying to print the value that is stored inside the variable and not the variable itself. Okay, so if we run this, it would say hello world. Notice how here it says enter your name, and it's waiting there. The prompt is just sitting there waiting for an input. So we put in our name, we hit enter, and it says hello Juan. Now if you notice, the cursor is sitting right on top of name, and we want there to be some space. So here at the prompt, we're going to have to hit space and colon so that there is space the next time we run it. So when we hit run, you can see that there's a space there, a colon, or better yet, let's stop it for a moment. Let's go here. Let's bring this back, put this here, and hit space there. And I think this would look much better. See? That's much better there. And now it looks much neater, much cleaner, and it has a nice space there. So again, this is input for the name, output for the prints, and we didn't do any if statements here. But if we were to do an if statement, we can create something that requires some checking. So if we get an input and we want to check it, so we'll say, let's see, let's ask for an age. Okay, age equals input. Please enter your age. And then we say if age is less than 20, Okay, now notice the if structure. The if structure, we start with the if statement, and I put parentheses. Now, these parentheses are not needed. However, I like putting them in out of habit from programming in other languages, and it also allows me to remember that a colon is needed at the end of the if statement. The colon signifies the beginning of a block, and then the text that goes inside the block of the if statement must be indented. So we hit enter and we say, if the age is less than 20, print you are young. We're going to check it again. And now we could check it again with another if statement, or we can use an else if statement and say age is less than 40, print you are getting old. Now, just so that you can see what the program is doing, first it's going to print hello world. Then it's going to take an input from a user and store it in name. So I'm assuming somebody's name. It's going to say hello to the input that's being placed in there. Then it's going to ask for an age. And then the input of the age is going to be stored in the variable age. And here we're going to check the age that the person typed in. And if it's less than 20, it's going to print this. If it's greater than 20, it's not going to run this. It will check to see if it's less than 40, and then it's going to run that. Let's do one last statement. We'll say else, and notice the colon on else. On the else if, the colon's in the back. For else, the colon is here. And then we type in print you are old. Okay? And then we run it. So we say hello world, enter your name. It says hello Juan, please enter your age. Let's say I'm 15. And it says I have an error. Oh, yes, that's right. I keep forgetting the input is a string, so this has to be a string as well. Um, let's make it integer. So we're going to do integer. Because remember, when we use the input always comes in as a string. So we have to convert it to an integer in order for it to be seen as a number. Okay? Let me put some spaces here, and let's run it again. And now we say my name again, enter an age 15, and there it is. It says you are young. If we run it again, and we say that we are 35, it says you are getting old. And we run it one more time, and we say our name, and we say that we are 65, and it says you are old. Okay, so as you can see, this is basically how the program functions. Okay, and that is input, output, and if statements.